So what I'm going to show you a little bit about here is what are the assets that you might have exposed and what are these reports actually look like to be able to see exactly what a litigator would know when making their determination of whether to sue you or not. So the first thing we look at is one individual piece of property, and we can pretty much easily find this by just searching your name inside of a geographical location or a particular address and finding out what is the scope and extent of that asset. Now, when we actually pull back one of these reports, what we're going to be able to see is a couple of key pieces. You can see at the very top that it shows that the owner's names are listed there, and it also provides us the estimated price of the property that would be if the property was sold today. Now, when we go all the way to the middle, you're going to see that we can see the history of this property. This is things that your neighbors could find out about your mortgage history, foreclosure, etc. This is scary information for other people to know that are living right next door to you about what your finances and your financial history is looking like. Now we go all the way to the bottom. It's going to show us what the mortgage is on the property and how active that mortgage has been in being paid off over the course of those years. Now, with all of that information, you can see on the right-hand side of the page exactly where it tells us the amount of equity that is inside of this property. So as we look through this property and we look at the other properties that are all associated underneath your name, you can see that the litigator, that frivolous litigator, is going to be able to add all of the values of these properties together to know the minimum amount of assets they're going to be able to attack in that lawsuit. But we also know that people don't just have equity in their properties. We also know that they have money in their bank accounts. They also have money in their stock accounts. They have other assets that can be foreclosed. They might know not exactly what those are at the very beginning, but they also know that they're there on top of the equity. So we add all of those values together and then we're able to see what your total exposure would be. If the amount of equity that you have inside of real estate is $100,000 or more and you own those properties in a single LLC or in your personal name, you're guaranteed to be sued if anybody ever looks to come to sue you, because they know there's enough money there to both pay off the claim and pay the attorney's fees, which is ultimately what the frivolous litigator is looking to do. Now, when making the determination of how much should you spend to be able to protect, say, $150,000 between your bank accounts and your stock accounts and your real estate, it's difficult to be able to know how much protection do you need to protect $150,000 in assets. A better question is likely, how long would it take me to rebuild this extent of assets? If it only takes you a month to be able to go generate an extra $150,000 in your net worth, maybe asset protection doesn't make any sense at all, because your downside risk is only an extra month of your time to be able to generate what you would have lost if you were ever sued. And by the way, lawsuits don't happen all the time, right? They're only guaranteed to happen over a longer period of time. However, if this amount of money represents years or potentially decades of your life, then any amount of risk potentially is too much, because you're not then talking about a small amount of time that you're losing. You're talking about an event like a lawsuit that could set you back 5 or 10 years in the same job and working environment that you're in right now. So if you're looking for financial freedom, the asset protection is your insurance policy to know when you're going to get there by knowing that you're not going to have the major setbacks along the way.
By listening to these videos, looking at the Royal Legal Solutions blog, and listening to the REI Nerds podcast, I can guarantee you that you're going to know more than 99% of any of the real estate investors you're ever going to encounter. This is going to make you the smartest guy in the room. And who comes to see the smartest guy in the room? Everybody else that wants to do a deal. If you really want to create yourself to be a magnet, to attract other people, to be making great deals with, you got to have the best information. And that's what I want to give to you. Subscribe, come to our website, listen to what we have going on. I can get you there.